Google Sheets in this video. To create a Google Sheets, which is similar to an Excel spreadsheet or an Apple numbers file, you'll go over to the New button and click Google Sheets. From here, you can see it looks like any other generic spreadsheet tool. It will function very much the same way as any of those tools as well. You can use it at the basic level for just some really low-end data keeping, or you can get to the higher user and use formulas and equations and things like that to create, data that really is meaningful for what you're using. So again, just like all of the other tools, I would suggest the first thing you do to rename this file. These autosaves are also collaborative in real time, just like all of the other tools that we've explored thus far. So going on a small tour, you have your file menu. This gives you the ability to share with others as either viewer, collaborator, and editor, or as a commenter. So someone that's only going to be able to view and leave comments such as sticky notes, kind of things that hang in the margins. That's not necessarily manipulating the data that's in here. The new is going to give you the ability to create something new. Open is going to obviously do what it says. Import, if you'd like to import data from another source, you can do that here. Make a copy is going to be similar to a save as, where you're able to make an exact replica of what you're working on and modify that one as well. If you'd like to email this, you can email it as an attachment, or if you do share this with collaborators and with other users, you'll be able to email them directly from here. You can download this file as an Excel file sheet or a PDF. Either of those are going to be probably your most common used. Your next most common use is going to be your CSV file. Those are going to be things like if you needed to have a class list that you export and then upload into another tool to be used by that other tool. If you want to use this file offline, you would be able to do that here. So think of that as your airplane mode on your phone. If you're going to be able to modify and manipulate this offline, you'll do that here. If you need to look at version history, so like I mentioned earlier, this auto saves every time you make a change. So if you need to go back into a previous version history, you just click on here, you click version history, and you can scroll back through and see all of those modifications or changes you've made. If you need to rename, you can do that here. Move it means you can organize it within your Google Drive. If you want to add a shortcut to Drive, you can do that here. Put it in the trash can, publish to web, meaning you'll get a unique URL for this document so that you can post it on a website or share it in an email that way. You can do that. Document details is going to give you some more information about the actual document itself. Spreadsheet settings, you'll be able to go and do the more advanced settings for how you want the spreadsheet to function, and your print button. Under the edit menu, you have undo, redo, cut, copy, paste, or paste special. Those are going to be your, common throughout any of these tools. Your find and replace is going to be looking for specific words or phrases and replacing them with other words or phrases. Your delete things or your delete options are depending on how you've highlighted either rows or columns. You see different options here under the delete section. So if I have a column highlighted on my spreadsheet, I'm going to get delete column. If you have an individual cell, you're going to have some other options here. Clear notes is going to be clearing out the things that are added as notes onto this document. The view menu is going to give you the ability to freeze rows or columns. So what that means is if I freeze a row or column, when I scroll through the document, and it's kind of hard to see without any data in here, but that top row stays glued. So as I have like maybe a header that says first name, last name, you'll see here that the numbers go up as I scroll, but that header row does not change. So that's the freeze option. You can freeze either rows or columns depending on how you want to toggle your data. Your grid lines are going to be these lines that separate your columns and rows. If you have protected ranges, meaning things that you don't want modified or changed, you can protect those. Your formula bar is going to give you the ability to add in some formulas. So it's this function bar here, and that's going to be where you could type in some of those advanced formulas to be able to sum or to group numbers the way that you want. Show formulas is going to give you, as you're typing things in, it's going to give you a suggestion of what formula might work for how to group that data. Hidden sheets, as you see down here, you can have multiple sheets. So this would be like different pages in a document. So you can have hidden sheets, and that's going to be something where maybe only the editor can see that hidden sheet. Zoom, exactly what it says. Full screen, it's going to show you obviously the full screen. Insert menu, you'll be able to add rows or columns. You'll be able to shift and change where rows or columns are. Add a chart, add an image. This is nice because you can either add it in one individual cell or over the top of some cells, depending on how you're using it. You can add a drawing. That's going to pull up a Google drawing, blank white template, and you'll be able to add a drawing if you need. You can add a Google form response, and we'll look at Google Forms in another section of this G Suite training. Your different functions. So these are the different formulas that you can type in to make your data kind of work for you. They have some of the more common formulas up here at the top. Some of those other ones, if you're more of a power user, you'll see all of those different kinds of formulas that you can use. These will function exactly the same way. If you're using a formula in Excel, it will be the exact same formula here in Google as well. A link is going to be a hyperlink to a website, an email address, whatever you're linking it to. A checkbox is going to add, like it says, a checkbox. A comment is going to be like a sticky note over the top of a cell. So you would highlight a cell, click on comment, and it would be like a Post-it note assigned to that piece of data. A note is going to be similar to that. And a new sheet is obviously going to be a new sheet residing here at the bottom that you'd be able to put different information and data in. Format is going to be how this spreadsheet looks. So you can create a theme. That's nice for if you're making this a really professional looking thing where you wanted the rows alternating colors, things like that. You can change the theme. You can change how your numbers look. So if you're working with you want some percentages versus a decimal point, you can have that. You can go into kind of currency and financial pieces. You can change it to numbers. You can have all different kinds of formats here. You can have your bold, italic, underline, strike through, font size, how your cell is aligned, so left, center, right, or top, middle, bottom. That's really important for how the aesthetic of your spreadsheet looks. Your text wrapping, so this is going to allow you to, if you've got multiple lines of text or things that don't fit within the width of your column, you can wrap it so that it creates multiple lines within that column. Merge cells, it's grayed out right now because I only have one cell highlighted back here, but what that would allow me to do is to merge two cells into one cell. Your text rotation, maybe you want it to look a different way depending on what kind of spreadsheet you're creating. You can tilt it up, down, stack it vertically, rotate up, rotate down, or change it to a different angle. So if you wanted things kind of staggered or looking different, you can do that here. Conditional formatting is one of my favorite tools within Google Spreadsheets. So what that allows you to do is to create a rule, and if that rule or condition is met, then the spreadsheet will change and look different aesthetically. So you can change and give different colors. So if I want anything in column B, if that is empty, I want it to be colored red. And you can see here that you can change all of these different rules. So if a date meets a certain category, if a number meets a certain criteria, you can have that in here. So as you're collecting data maybe about your students and you're collecting quantitative values, you can set it automatically. If it's above, say, 90%, then it might be colored green. If it's between 80 and 90%, it might be yellow. And if something is below 80%, it might be a red, so that you can visually see when certain conditions have been met. So you'll see here, if I type in something, because the condition is met, this cell is no longer empty, it changed that condition. So it's kind of a cool, kind of a more advanced feature of these spreadsheets. So that was conditional formatting. Alternating colors is going to give you the ability to quickly and easily change the way that your spreadsheet is looking. Let's see. So quickly and easily, you can change how that's looking just like that. You can also remove that if you don't like it right here at the bottom. Clear formatting is going to be changing back to your original kind of look. So maybe you had a bunch of things bolded or highlighted or changed the color. If you wanted to clear all of that, you just go to Format, Clear Formatting, and it goes back to 10-point font, Arial font. It's going to go back to just no formatting whatsoever. Your data toolbar here is going to allow you to sort, create filters, create a slicer, those kinds of things. Those are more advanced features, which we'll look at maybe in additional videos. If you want to validate those data points, so making sure they fit certain conditions, you can do that. A pivot table is more an advanced user thing. If you need to name certain ranges, protect sheets and ranges, you can split text into additional columns. So if you have in an original sheet, you had first name or last name, comma, first name, and you wanted that to be in 2 separate columns, you can do that here. Like I have, first name, last name, you can do that here. You can find duplicates. So if you have a huge amount of data that you're sifting through and you want to see where duplicates lie, you can do that here. If you've got white space, you can trim that. If you need to group or ungroup, you can do that down here at the bottom. Tools is going to be, again, some of those more advanced user things. If you want to create a form that links to this spreadsheet, and again, this is a Google form for data collection or collecting information, you can do that right here. Script editor is going to be more advanced users where you're going to be able to add in a computer code and script. Your macros is going to be, again, advanced users. Spell check, that's one that most everyone could use. You can just quickly spell check. This does not have grammar check, although most spreadsheets you're not typically writing full sentences and things like that. Autocomplete, you can turn that on and off here. If you want to have notification rules of when things have been modified or changed on this spreadsheet, so you can set it up that you get an email as soon as something's changed. So if you're sharing something with another user and you want to know when they've modified or changed it, you can go in here, get an email as soon as they've changed it. So you can see maybe you're sharing this with a student and they're doing some self-monitoring of their behavior. Maybe you want to see, oh, they inputted some new data. You can go in here and notification rules. Protect a sheet is going to, again, be listed here under tools, and you have your accessibility settings. They're fairly limited, but they are, nice that it's in here. Your add-ons are going to be different based on how you use Google Sheets. So you probably, when you come in here, do not have anything here. Add-ons are like apps that work in conjunction with the Google Sheets. So these are some of the ones that I've used in the past, and you can look and get add-ons right here. They have kind of like a little app store that you can go in and look for stuff. Your help menu, you can go in here and get some help by either searching here, going through the trainings, the help, and things like that. Here is your version history. So I can see that 3 minutes ago something was changed. If I click here, I can see all of the different versions, and I can go back and restore to a specific version based on the changes that I know to, or that I need to go back to. You have your comment button, which is going to allow you to look at all the comments made on this document. Your share button is going to allow you to share. Like I mentioned earlier, it can be an editor, someone that's collaboratively working on this document. It could be a viewer, meaning they are only looking at this document, they're not changing at all, or they could be a commenter, and that is someone that is going to be allowed to add comments only, but not actually change the data that's in here. Coming down here, you've got your toolbar. You've got undo, redo, print, the paint format. So if you wanted to copy and paste the format, so maybe you've changed and made this column the exact way you want it, you could highlight that, use the paintbrush, and paste it onto another column. You have your zoom feature. If you wanted to format as currency or percentages, if you want to decrease decimal places, increase decimal places, or change the format of how numbers look on this, you can do that here. You can change the font, the size, change how it looks, bold, italic, or strike through, change the color, change the cell color. So the difference between the text color and the cell color is cell color is going to be the background. The font color is obviously going to be what the word looks like, or numbers. If you want it to have borders around, you can select how you want those borders to look. If you want to merge cells or unmerge cells, you can do that here. How you're justifying your text, so left, middle, or right. How you're aligning, top, middle, or bottom. How you're wrapping your text, so do you want it to overflow into the next cell? Do you want it to wrap down, or do you want it to clip, so meaning you only see part of the word that fits there? Do you want to rotate your text to fit the cell that you're using? Do you want to add a hyperlink? Do you want to add a comment? Inserting a chart, creating a filter, a function, making a right to left sheet instead of a left to right sheet. So depending on how you're collecting data, you might be using that. If you need a left to right cell or a right to left cell. Those are kind of the basic functions here. If you decide that you need to create new sheets, you can create a new sheet down here in the bottom right-hand corner. You can also look at all of your sheets listed here. If you have something that has a lot of sheets, you can have click on these lines and you'll be able to stack them all and see them all here.